And welcome back, everybody. It wasn't a magic trick. It was just a trick. I am still here. I did not disappear entirely, and I am joined now by two lovely casters. We got Mad Magical and Cubby. They swapped your spots today. I got Magical in the middle now. This is new. I like this sweater, man.
I don't have the arm spawning from the middle of the screen anymore. So I feel like, some more continuity. And now Alex has to look both ways.
Yeah, now I just have to do extra work.
True.
We're keeping Mad Magical
That's going to be
real
really
active.
tough for him to manage. I always get them mixed up. But we got some Academy action ahead of us today. It is day one of Super Week, the last week of Academy. And like I said in the pre-show, this is where we get to see the form of every team going into Proving Grounds. That's a big narrative of the day because we did the math and nobody is out of top 6 contention. A reminder, the bottom 4 teams in the end of season Academy standings will go into Proving Grounds play-ins, which is a single elimination best of 3 to get that final spot into Proving Grounds proper. So getting top 6 is actually kind of a big deal because one best of 3 to keep your tournament lives on the line is pretty rough. And we want to start the conversation with that. Magical, I'm going to give it to you first because FlyQuest Academy versus CLG is up first for the day. And FlyQuest are in second to last place. I know you've been running the numbers, so I need you to walk me through it. How does FlyQuest have a chance of getting top 6?
FlyQuest have it a bit easier. You said that every team technically has a chance to get top 6, but that's technically. Not every team is realistically in a position to be able to get that. Team TSM being that one where they have to not only win every game, but also hope their opponents lose a lot. But similar story kind of goes for FlyQuest. Since they are only, I'm just double checking the numbers, 11 and 19, and they're about 3 games out, which isn't terrible going into a Super Week. But you also still either have to make sure you win every game to guarantee getting that spot, or kind of have to hope that if you win 3 games, well, actually you have to win 4 games. It has to be 4-2 at the bare minimum for FlyQuest to be able to make it in and force a tiebreaker. Since the 2 teams above them, well, there's 3 teams. One being Evil Geniuses, who they actually only have to go 3-3 to be able to beat. The other one being 100 Thieves and Dignitas, who play at the very end, our last match of the entire season.
Yeah, that was going to be crazy because they're the ones that are tied at that 6th place spot right now. But the big thing for FlyQuest, it's out of their control no matter what. Even if they 6-0, they're relying on other teams to lose. So they're going to be looking at this schedule thinking, all right, please let us get some wins and let the other teams above us drop some games here. Cubby, I'm going to give it to you, though, because CLG are sitting comfy. They're in 2nd place right now. Their top 6 is almost secure.
I know that we're putting a big emphasis on top 6, given what that means for Proving Grounds moving forward, but CLG are realistically in the race for the 1st seed still. They're 1 game behind Golden Guardians, and they have a match against them tomorrow. So wins here could do them a lot of favors. They control all of their own destiny tomorrow going against Golden Guardians, and that race for 1st, I know that CLG has somewhat struggled in the 2nd round robin. I think this is a good opportunity for them to turn it around and the regular season on a strong note to wrap up this Super Week and go into Proving Grounds with momentum. That's what I'm looking for with CLG.
Yeah, CLG, it's not just getting top 6. It's can we show that we are the number 1 seed and get the easiest seeding going in to Proving Grounds
pretty much
proper.
have top
and we're not
6
going
locked.
Right. Exactly. And we're not going to wait too long because I am hearing that Pick and Ban is ready. Again, we had some slight delays, but we're ready to hop into game number 1. So I'm going to pass it over to Magical and Cubby to take us away for game number 1 of our Week 8 Super Week.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's always good having you around, but we got to get ready for these games. We got to dive into our first series, FlyQuest, CLG. We kind of hyped up a little bit of their stories going into Super Week, what they can do to either move up in the standings or grab a top 6 seed, because when I look at CLG, technically, actually, no, not even technically, they can't be knocked out of top 6. Even if they lose every game, they're, I think, exactly 6 games up on an opponent, or is it 5 games? 5 games up.
I mean, look, we said going into the day that, like, every team has a chance to make top 6. TSM has exactly 1 scenario that they need.
So
my guess is that after today, we're going to see a lot of those scenarios get eliminated. Realistically, for CLG, it's not about the race for top 6. It's about the race for 1st and reclaiming that dominance they had in the 1st round robin. I mean, they were 14-4 in that 1st round robin. Since then, they're actually below 500, something that's been very surprising in the 2nd half. And we want to see CLG, we had a conversation on the broadcast last week. We want to see them somewhat return to form or adapt to the new meta. We've been seeing less 3-wave plans and trying to catch teams off guard early. I think we've also seen teams buff up their early game and transitions to mid game, and CLG have not been able to take advantage of that as much. And so I think that this week, getting that first seed could mean a lot for CLG. The fact they had to overcome a little bit of tumultuous, halfway point in the split, reclaiming that confidence, reclaiming the momentum, and trying to go in as the top dogs. That's what I'm looking for out of this team, and want to see if we can see it. A good chance against FlyQuest, who are also sitting in 9th, and this match means a lot if they want any chance to make top 6. They need, realistically, 5 wins.
Yeah, and as we dive into Champion Select, to kind of get a look, there's that early game you talked about, that Lee Sin, but it left Zeri open for Tomo. Immediately grabbed away. I'm curious to see if Prismal is going to answer with the Tristana counter that we've been seeing picked whenever Zeri's up.
And Tomo, he is someone that has a couple games on the Zeri. I think that series against Golden Guardians where they split was really exciting, Mad Magical, because Golden Guardians found a way to attack the Zeri one game. That was the 40-minute, 64-kill banger that we had. But I think Zeri really pivots your team into excelling at that 2 or 1.5 plus item mark. Once you get the Trinity Force, once you pair that with some more tankiness, Zeri gets really difficult to deal with. And it looks like CLG are going to try and hit that earlier. They have the FLYAs. I think they notably also have Rosethorn's Viego, which is 4-0 in this split. And it's now going to force FlyQuest to put a little bit more emphasis on that early game, Yuji on the ganking jungler.
And I'm curious to see what they want to pair up with this area in the bot lane for Diamond, or if they want to hold out for that. Because we look towards Spire, we look towards Philip. Philip, I'm expecting not to get the pick. I'm expecting him to be in the later stages. That's generally what we've been seeing out of this top laner for FlyQuest. So taking this Ahri makes a lot of sense, since this is really the identity we've seen from FlyQuest when it comes to their drafts. Taking not only the support, but the top laner towards the bitter end of the draft.
And I was about to ask for Triple to throw down. I was going to ask for the Blanc Syndra, but instead it's actually going to be Triple's Twisted Fate. So CLG, I mean, something that we teased, playing with the jungle, playing with priority, and trying to utilize that to get up in the face of the enemy. This is something that I think CLG was a lead at for the first round robin. Something we haven't seen out of them as much in the second one. This is a setup with this Twisted Fate Viego. Go attack those side lanes. You already have that Aphelios. Dokla's probably going to get 5 pick here. I think it's going to be CLG looking to attack sides, looking to return to that identity that we saw them be so good with in the first round robin. Whereas meanwhile, FlyQuest, for me, it's about getting Ahri out of lane and trying to go to the sides as well. I think that Ahri has a lot of push and is really good when paired with upfront damage, trying to utilize her kit to get the resets. And I think it's going to be an interesting posture already between mid-jungle. I'm just interested to see what they put around it now.
As am I, as we're seeing a lot of support focus from both sides. Not really hitting the top lane at all in this draft. The Yuumi, Leona, Thresh ban, maybe even ended out with a Nautilus ban to take away these picks for Breezy, and especially Breezy as a player who likes to roam and get outside of these lanes and help out other lanes. Not really just staying around Prismal. Breezy loves to see if he can get an early gank off in the top lane.
I think the Camille ban, very telling. We've seen Camille very commonly picked into Zeri to utilize that Hextech ultimatum to just have a way to lock her down, prevent all that move speed. And Dokla with the 5 pick, maybe FlyQuest are setting up for something that Camille's okay into. I think something like a Gangplank for Philip. We haven't seen it a lot, but that could be good. His Aatrox has been one of his better blinds. That could be an option as well. But it does mean that Tahm Kench gets through. So CLG get that safety for the Aphelios. And I think Breezy, his Tahm Kench, has been his most played. I think he's played it really well. It looks like Diamond's still looking for some more engage, but I'm really curious to see what they blind top, because when you have a Twisted Fate, you really have to look out for the side lanes.
Oh, it is going to be Diamond playing his Zillion. I think it's the second time this split playing this champion with Zeri especially.
And now, I mean, this is a big counter going later into the game. I think it really neutralizes what CLG wants to do. Viego Twisted Fate, it's all about using that gold card, throwing down the damage, and getting that first kill for Viego to reset. Zillion prevents that, really slows it down. I teased the blind Aatrox for Philip. He is 4-1 in 5 plays on the champion, tied for his most played. I think out of Dokla now, if he really wants to get wild, we could see something like a Fiora or a Jax in the top side really commit to this 1-3-1 identity. And Yeah, it looks like Dokla. Fiora's been rising in priority. I would love to see it here. It's a really good matchup.
Well, Dokla is one of those players who has a champion Ocean, so it does not surprise me that you're correct with this. He has those counters in his pocket that he can always bust out and play into something like Aatrox. I'm excited. Dokla is one of these players that we've seen absolutely dominating this split. So to give him Fiora, something that can try to beat out Aatrox in lane, but also set up the split push in the side lanes later, is fantastic.
And CLG are fully committing to this 1-3-1 with the Fiora pick. They see the Zillion, they see that Viego Twisted Fate and say, you know what? That's going to be really tough for us to team fight into. We have to play sides, get ahead, and I think it's a good opportunity to see. I mean, this is CLG. A huge part of their identity, a huge part of their success. It was about setting up the 1-3-1, having Rosethorn, you know, get split map scenarios, utilize early priority to invade, set the enemy jungler behind, win your lanes from there, get a huge gold advantage, and just win the game by brute force, playing 3 lanes. This is something that CLG really was a lead at. I think they're still very good at it. We just haven't seen them be able to execute it as cleanly in the second round robin. This is a really good opportunity for us to see them return to the identity that made them great in the first round robin and take it to FlyQuest, who are very clearly showing a team fight composition, but I think that CLG have to play their side successfully if they want to give themselves a big advantage going into the team that FlyQuest has drafted for themselves.
I'm going to make you dive in a little bit more to this team fight composition on the other side that CLG are now facing, because that generally can be a way to punish 1-3-1s, especially if you're able to get some good leads from your lane and not get punished by early roams from Twisted Fate.
And I think the big part for FlyQuest is going to be Yuji. If Yuji isn't set behind, if he is able to try and answer the plays that Rosethorn is throwing at him, you can steady the map and get to more even footing for the 5v5. Because if you leave these lanes in isolation, I'm expecting the Fiora and FLYAs to come out ahead. So I think it is a good opportunity to see something that FlyQuest has talked so much about with having Yuji emerge as this competitive jungler, this raw solo queue talent. He's really had to make the strides working with the team, working with Diamond. And this could be a good game working with that Zillion. Jarvan can do some really good things. I mean, this is a combo we even saw in the World Finals, right? And FlyQuest, a few patches later, they say, we can still pull this out. We need to win these 5v5s against CLG. And I think if CLG opts in the 5v5s, they could be in big trouble.
And the only way to really find that out is, you know, the typical transition, and we got to get into game, blah, blah, blah. But I'm excited for this. It's super weak. We get to see the last bit of action before we move into the proving grounds for all of these teams. And if CLG can break out of that slump that they've been having, if they can finally find these wins, it's going to be a big step up looking towards proving grounds. But then the flip for FlyQuest, if they can start picking up these wins, move up in the standings, maybe, just maybe, crack the top 6, and they can avoid the play-in.
These are the stakes. All these teams are going to be playing 6 matches to wrap up the week, and we're just going to have to see how our standings shake out. And I think avoiding that playing stage, I mean, right now, Maryville and Wildcard Gaming are sitting in the 7 through 10 slot. Wildcard guaranteed to be slotted in, I think, at 9. That's a team with Alorum, Griffin on it. I mean, those are some players that have had success on the Academy, on the LCS stage, and I don't think you want to be the Academy team that goes up against them. Not to mention Maryville just knocking off 100 Thieves next. These matches are important for FlyQuest, so we're going to have to see if they have continued to improve and have continued to really patch up their mid-game, because this is a mid-game that's going to be lethal for CLG. It's something that Diamond specifically has been like, we need to stop getting rid of our early leads with mid-game mistakes. They're going to have to play around this 1-3-1 correctly, try and pick their spots at the right time, and take down CLG's comp to thrown at them.
I'm looking towards Yuji, as you had talked about before. This is going to be where our eyes have to be, especially going against something like Viego. Viego, most players who draft this try to play more for scaling, try to power farm. Chad being one of the exceptions where he goes for the level 3 ganks almost every time as Viego. But Jarvan is a very strong early game champion with how he can clear and skirmish.
And something that we could see Yuji use now at the moment, it does look like Rosethorn actually going to sprint bot. So this is the 3-wave or 3-camp plan that gets you to a side lane with the most HP, taking Gromp third, whereas Yuji did full clear that top side, now rotating over to the bot side. And with how the wave is positioned at the moment, Tomo is going to drop a ward, or at least bluff to drop a trinket. Rosethorn has the opportunity to maybe get involved, but I think he's just rotating to make sure he cleans up these camps on this side of the map, and then he's going to go for the top crab.
Yeah, he might be a little baited by the fact that Tomo did bluff it. He's fallen for the bluff, going top side after this, probably grabbing wolves, then go for the top scuttle, avoiding a skirmish potential against UG, who is on the bottom quadrant of the map at the current moment. This is honestly, I think that alone was a good answer from Tomo and Diamond to make sure that Rosethorn can't make those early plays.
And Rosethorn, actually, he's going to hit the sweeper, miss out on UG. And we could see a small skirmish in the bot side now. Ari does have first move against Twisted Fate.
So
the bot lane also collapsing on Rosethorn.
Exactly, that's going to be bad. They got the slow already. Flag and drag flashed away by Rosethorn to stay alive. That is flash burned out of Rosethorn. That engage tool that you have early on with Viego to get the stun guaranteed, no longer there.
And that's partly why I was expecting Rosethorn to go to the top crab, just given it's double range bot into a Tom Kench. The Zillion, Zeri have priority. So Rosethorn using that summoner now, this actually opens up the window for Yuji to try and answer with a double crab. You can see he knows that Ari has shoved mid early, and Spyrax is posturing to help out Yuji, intelligently wraps around the wall, and they found Rosethorn again.
The flag and drag flash charm. Rosethorn dies to first blood out of Yuji.
It's a great setup, a great punish from FlyQuest, but also Rosethorn, he's just, not able to find the standard pathing on this, the Viego. I had to pause this bot lane, saw a lot of trading going on.
That was waiting for
Breezy.
Ooh, God, Tomo too. Jeez. There's a lot of damage back and forth, but Breezy being Tom Kench, thick skin, heals him back up, so it's going to be Tomo and Diamond with the little health bars that both those champions have early on, being the ones that are facing the biggest punishment.
Okay, they are able to get the wave in. I'm very surprised about that mistake from Rosethorn. I think not wrapping around to take a top crab. We saw it get punished by FlyQuest.
Nice read.
Props to Yuji. He knows that he has mid priority with this Ari, and him and Spyrax were able to put it to good use twice. Netting the flash, knowing that FlyQuest had move in both mid and bot first, and then Spyrax, I love the flash follow. Nice sign of aggression from him.
Here's Rosethorn's potential answer. Looking for Philip. Philip's playing very cautiously. Not stepping up too far, though the ward placed down by Dokla. Tempted to clear it. Oh, come on, Philip. Had to know something was fishy with that. But you got Yuji. That's the big thing. Yuji's nearby. Dokla so low. Flag and drag doesn't get the kill. It gets the flash out of Dokla. But now it's Rosethorn's turn to look for Philip. Philip's low, but he's healing up. Doesn't get enough to heal up against Rosethorn. Now it's Yuji's turn to fight again. With a low health bar from Dokla. Doesn't really want to look for it. Not with the minions first.
But this was so well played by Dokla because a lot of times people just think about Fiora like, I use the parry to dodge out on the CC because then I get the stun. Dokla used it to dodge out on the damage, and that actually enabled him to get out, baited FlyQuest in for that play, and ensured that CLG came out on top, as that's a big bounce back for Rosethorn. And Yuji, he's not done with action on the map. Spyrax going to get the flash out of triple. Yuji showing mid is all they needed, and Yuji continues to assert his dominance, utilize this ganking jungler, and really steady the storm for his laners that need to scale into the later parts of the game, Mad Magical, to make sure they can find the 5v5s. They're setting the solo lanes of CLG behind.
Exactly what you had asked from them. This is a great setup from FlyQuest, utilizing Yuji's early game skirmishing potential on Jarvan. What is that, 3 flashes that he's gotten alone?
Still has his, too. Not bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually quite impressive. Usually you see those kind of plays, you have to burn the flag and drag flash to guarantee a knockup, but he held on to it the whole time, so he still has that tool. He wants to look for someone like Prismal, even a rinse and repeat gank on a triple.
Now we are approaching, the first dragon is now up. Rift Herald also on the map soon. For CLG, I really think Rift Herald's an important objective when you're trying to execute 1-3-1s. It just gives you the ability to funnel plate gold into your solo lanes, and also can enable you to knock down first tower if you have any of these lanes go sour and try and move them around the map. Now, right now, CLG's solos are faring rather well, something that we have really come to expect out of CLG. Dokla, once again, gold differential at 15 as an individual is 943 gold. Oof. That is more than every other team in the league besides CLG. He is putting up a crazy split, and Dokla, even despite the pressure, despite losing his flash with this counter pick, is still able to beat up a few creeps. Honestly, though, props to Philip. I know that he went down, but at least in the CS score, he's actually doing better than what we expect for this matchup. It's very difficult for the Aatrox, and Philip's actually doing an okay job of navigating this one.
Plus, having Bramble Vest, too, for Philip is a big spike against Fiora Viego, denying a little bit of that healing that they could gain, like we saw Dokla and Rosethorn both healing up enough that Yuji couldn't find those turnaround kills after.
Now we do have to pause as Rosethorn trying to recover, and this will be a gold card connecting, but Spyrax hugging the correct side of the lane, the side that Yuji is on. Will not open up any windows for Rosethorn to get in. Now, with that said, that is a small chunk going over to CLG, and Dokla, especially given that Philip is missing Flash, has still been able to get priority in the top side. So I'm one to see if Rosethorn starts up this Rift Herald, which it looks like he is on the top side. And FlyQuest, they're trading this out for bot camp, so following Yuji. So it looks like this will not be contested, and I find this a win for CLG. Getting gold on their souls, that is their win con. Rift Herald helps the most with that.
Which lane do you prefer, mid or top?
Oh, gotta go top, always. I mean, so if I'm CLG now, you have this Twisted Fate, you have this port. Now, FlyQuest, they're trading out the Herald for the blue buff and the Dragon. I think this is okay for them too, right? They're the team fighting team. They want to stack up the Dragons and bait you in. But if I'm CLG, I have a port with Twisted Fate. I have Rift Herald. If I'm Rosethorn, I'm looking to flip my pathing, go top, sync up with triple, get a kill up there on the flashless Aatrox, utilize that Rift Herald to take first brick. I think that's the game plan for CLG. Get this Fiora going and set up Dokla to do what he's been doing the entire split. That is winning lane and dominating the sides from there.
Usually that also entails bringing up Breezy to help out with these plays, but the fact they have Twisted Fate Viego don't really need the Tom Catch this time. They are setting up the play as you had prophesized. They have looked for it. The gate has been opened. Philip, he's pretty risky right now. He goes for the World Ender against 3 members, healing up just a bit, but the damage is way too huge for Dokla to easily take him down.
And this is textbook play from CLG. We'll see if Rosethorn does opt to throw down the Rift Herald. Yeah, they're going to take first brick. This is very early. You can see FlyQuest trying to counter bot. Prismal is able to sneak out of there. A little bit unlucky timing for Yuji. And CLG, they take first brick. Their bot lane hasn't given up any plates yet. 2 should go over to Zeri, but this is a double crash. This is a really nice play from CLG.
Beautiful, and it's as you prophesized, Cubby. They got so much gold into Dokla, getting a kill, getting all the plates on the top lane turret, getting a secondary crash onto the tier 2 as well. He's now 2 levels over Philip in this counter matchup, and they can just dive him again. He's got Flash available, but it doesn't really matter because he doesn't have World Ender.
They were at least able to get the camp in, or the wave in, while Rosethorn was taking some camps. And like, when you're playing these very different clashing styles for each team, I do want to credit both teams. I think they are doing what is correct for their win cons, with FlyQuest trading out, or at least taking the Dragon. But CLG, they're the ones that, with this Twisted Fate, they have the ability to make these plays early, ability to get to waves that no other mid laner can answer. And I think that the way they used it, I mean, I called it out because that's the textbook play. And it's not rocket science for CLG, but it is just the correct move for League. Now, we'll have to see what happens from here, because CLG at the moment, they haven't been able to swap up any lane states. Dokla, you can see right now he's kind of stuck on what to do and spotted on a ward because Philip has kept this top wave by his turret. So it will now be pushing out. This will now open up another window for CLG to attack the Aatrox, but this is a moment where I think something that FlyQuest has done very well this year is stall time for their scaling compositions. Yes. And we'll have to see if FlyQuest can do it again in this game, because they really need to buy some time and prevent this Fiora from getting 100% out of control on the side.
I wanted to even bring that back to the conversation you talked about with the ban from Camille that set up this area in the first place. We look at what CLG have to try to answer that. They have gold cards, sure. They have even the stun from Viego. That's not a lot. And if it's a good dodge from Tomo, who has cleanse as well, you're not going to necessarily lock him down permanently, which allows Zeri to have that late game power.
And now you can play around with the cleanse. I think that Tomo also has this revive, and this is not the first time that we have seen Zillion plus Zeri. Something I actually like that Diamond did as well, opted for the Airy this game, so whenever he speeds up, the Zeri actually will give a small shield, which works with Zeri's passive. So I think that's a nice small adaptation, something unique you can do with champions like Zillion, Morgana. Even though you don't grant a shield, your empowering abilities, do proc the small shield from Airy.
Yuji saw Dokla trying to take away Grop. Fight, fine. Goes back to blue buff. No, this is out. Maybe Dokla could steal it. I'm kind of watching him on the mini-map. No, it's too late. It's way too late. What am I saying?
He might. Oh, he's going for something real
He's
wild.
going for something incredibly wild. Grand challenge laid out, but that's a Cataclysm. Still the kill for Big Dokes. 1v3. Blast Cone puts him right in his place, but he fights back on top of Spyrex. But here's Philip on the other side, dodging away, flashed over the wall, but Dokla does not survive this time around. It is a 1-for-1 trade.
And Dokla can win that, but this is a little bit split from CLG because while Dokla was opting in for the 1v3 on the top side, Triple has walked bot. They're trying to pressure Zeri off the turret, so CLG going for 2 plays at once, I think a bit of an overextension from them. FlyQuest are able to trade out the 1-for-1 and get the shutdown, and now both teams have to reset because Dragon's out on the map in 40 seconds. And we'll have to see if CLG grants them the team fight that FlyQuest is looking for. I know we are getting a second look. I love how Dokla used the parry on the EQ. You can use it on the backside to make sure that the stun does connect. This is really good Fiora play coming out of Dokla. I know that he's opting into the 1v3. It's a bit of an overextension, but to get that first kill, that's some of the Fiora mechanics that we're looking for out of these guys. Dokla executing upon that very well.
Only problem I have with it is it's an extended buff transfer. Yuji had blue buff, then Dokla got it because he killed Yuji, and then Spyrex got it because he killed Dokla.
Now, CLG, 2.5k gold lead. Something else, the consequence from that play, it actually enabled FlyQuest to get to the bot river first. Now, Breezy, he's at least going to have to burrow out.
Yeah, he's in a bit of hurt. Gold card on top of Yuji. With Roastthorn on the side, he's looking for the play attempted. 4 members here from FlyQuest will make it difficult.
And you can see Dokla, he did get the shove top. Now he is walking over to join his team. And I like what CLG is doing. They actually shoved out both side waves. You can see bot wave is crashing. Dokla now trying to beat Philip. He wins this.
I think he wins this now. It's a 1v4 with everyone showing up for the kill on Dokla. But he's pretty big at this point. This time, it's looking a lot more likely that he can 1v4. He got a lot of damage onto Yuji and escaped while his team got the dragon.
And this is so textbook from CLG. This is what we wanted to see them return to. Playing this 1-3-1, you can see Prismal Dokla both got shoved on the side lanes. Then they try and make a play on Dokla. He's able to answer with some really nice individual play coming out of him. CLG wins across the map. They take the kill. They take the dragon. They take the bot turret. And just like that, CLG are off to the races.
He is in the bush. Here's
This is
Spyrex.
risky.
It is very risky. They're trying to bait out the parry. It's a little late. There it is. They got the stun on top
Nice
of
charm.
Dokla for another shutdown for Spyrex.
That was really, really well played by Spyrex. He threw the charm out just before he got stunned and just after the riposte went off. So it was able to connect. Still kept Dokla in place. We're able to take him down. More shutdown gold going over to the side of FlyQuest. A good counter, but I still really want to credit the setup that CLG had for that dragon across the map. I think the way they played out their sides there, it netted them a win-win scenario, and they were able to take everything they wanted. So really well done from them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, looking at both teams and how they are really showing up on this map, top side of CLG, a really good spot. Even if Dokla died there and the kill got taken by Spyrex, I'm looking towards how that's going to impact the rest of the map, especially when I look towards the spot lane. Domo, even if he's 0-0-0, he's got a bit of a CS lead. He's got that Trinity Force already completed. Zeri's in a good spot going into these team fights.
And this is the push and pull that we're going to see out of the 1-3-1 as we do shift into the mid-game. It's about how CLG is able to stretch the map with these sides, able to find the 2v2s, the 3v3s, and avoid the 5v5s where a zillion empowered Zeri is so scary. So we'll see if CLG can get around that. Meanwhile, we do see Roastthorn might have to burn Flash, but Spyrex not able to get in range for the charm, not going to pop the ult. And CLG, it's going to be about really just dancing, playing these 3 lanes. You can see it right now. Dokla, Triple on the sides, FlyQuest, they're the ones that are somewhat grouped up as 4, trying to control mid and then shift their power to attack one of the sides of CLG. But as long as CLG is pushing out these waves, playing all 3, they're going to be the ones that slowly gain resources over time. They're the ones that are slowly going to gain access to FlyQuest jungle over time, and they're the ones that are really going to benefit if FlyQuest cannot break this setup.
Hell, you got another Rift Herald for Roastthorn. Even wondering if they just go bot lane, keep putting it where Dokla is at this point to make sure that Dokla, if you ever leave him alone in the side lanes, he just ends the game outright.
And you can see FlyQuest want to continue to attack him. That Q missed. Dokla popping this for the move
Okay,
speed.
there's going to be a bit of a trouble here for Dokla. He heals up with the help of the Grand Challenge. He's still alive. He's kicking,
No
looking for
way.
Philip. He's out of there, and it's Rosethorn now that they turn their attention onto with a lot of damage. Dokla can re-engage if he wants to. The flash burn by Rosethorn. No double bombs connecting onto the jungler. There's a potential fight in mid lane as well. With the charm going wide out of Spyrax, Domo was playing aggressively, but they just can't look for the fights yet.
And this is the dance that we're going to continue to see between Dokla and FlyQuest. He knows that he has to play in these sides aggressively, and he can take these 1v2s and 1v3s rather consistently, as we just saw there. So I want to see if CLG, I'm still looking for Triple to get shoved in one of these lanes and try and hover Dokla. Try and counter the attack of FlyQuest, because I think if they find Fiora plus Twisted Fate, given the strength they have at the moment and how you can play around those gold cards with Fiora, I think that's how CLG can really break this game open. I am looking for that at the moment. We're also going to have to look out for this dragon fight, as we have Hextech Soul on the Rift, and FlyQuest, I think the Dragon's very important for them because it's going to bait CLG into potential 5v5s.
At the moment, that's what we're waiting for FlyQuest, is these 5v5s. CLG are still trying to attempt that 1-3-1. The fact that the Dragon is up, they seem privy to want to grab that, as FlyQuest has sent 2 members top lane. No smite towards the bottom half of the map. It is 45 seconds until the Dragon spawns, so they have some time until they can call down Rosethorn. But with that Rift Herald being popped in mid lane, going to get these advantages to CLG around the pit.
And you can see Spyrax, Yuji, they're still sticking around, so they might actually be seeding this Dragon to the power of CLG, trying to trade for gold across the map. CLG, they're the ones that are getting more. As Triple, he's got to be a little bit careful.
That was aggressive out of him, but he does bait out the flash from Philip, and now Dokla, he got a Grand Challenge heal off of Philip, but here's Spyrax with that TP. 5 members apiece are here in this bot lane jungle, looking for the fight, with Triple putting his face a little far forward. Now Dokla on top of Spyrax, getting the flash as well, but look in the back line. They've got the Cataclysm locking 2 into the pit, but they're going to lose Yuji the entire time. He was not in a position to be followed up by his team.
And this is the strength of Dokla. He is absorbing so much pressure across the map, Magical, and when Yuji tries to find the skirmish, tries to get the numbers advantage, he's already chunked out over the wall. Dokla's so far ahead, he's able to turn it on the Jarvan, and they just cannot deal with this Fiora on the side of FlyQuest. Dokla is running the Rift.
Exactly, and that nets them the second Dragon. They already got, what, 2 turrets from that previous play with no answer from FlyQuest immediately, except for the tier 1 top lane. These are big wins across the board for CLG.
And this is what I wanted to see out of CLG. I know that they have had the second round robin. We said their record is below 500 after being first place in the first round robin. We were not expecting this out of CLG, but this feels like a return to what was giving them so much success. Just setting up Dokla, setting up these 3 lanes as Breezy.
That was close.
If they can really flash. We are going to a replay. Triple, this was a nice, stopwatch moment. Just able to dodge out some of the damage from Philip. But look at this. Spyrax eats a gold card, immediately has to flash after the slash dash into Dokla because he's scared. And he got slowed. And then Yuji, he gets chunked out. He tries to go on Dokla, but Diamond Tomo that can't join from over the wall. Yuji was somewhat forced from that play given the pathing that he took. FlyQuest over aggress. CLG able to use the strength of their souls to turn it around. And now as we get back on the Rift, you can see CLG Triple's hovering a bit more now, knowing that FlyQuest are looking a little bit more aggressively to attack the 3 instead of attacking this Fiora. And Dokla is just taking everything away from FlyQuest. That's a red buff right under their noses.
And what does that do? It sets up the rest of the team to look towards Baron. They're all focused on a Dokla on this bottom half of the map. He's popped the Grand Challenge. He's got so much damage onto Yuji by himself, flashing over the wall because he was scared of Spyrax. But now here's Phil.
They're on Baron.
But all this time, that Baron is being taken. FlyQuest, you're just losing out on the purple worm while you try to kill Dokla and failed.
And Dokla escapes again. I mean, this guy, FlyQuest, they're just getting pulled around the map. It's so difficult for them, and it's being played out so well by the side of CLG as this Fiora, this has been textbook. It is all about how you're able to absorb pressure, how you're able to outplay the 1v2s, the 1v3s, and what the rest of your team get during that. Dokla is doing this so well this game.
The fact that he has lived so many times is ridiculous.
Yeah, and even if he, went down a few of those times, trading your life for Baron, well worth it. Dokla
For sure.
keeps on creating these scenarios. FlyQuest can't deal with it, and it's a really good way for CLG to play around this Zeri Zillion. That's so tough to team fight. just play 3 lanes.
Yeah, and see, I even want to say, I'm going to reiterate, Dokla still lived. That's the big thing, is that even if he dies, it's still a win for CLG, yet he lived, and now he can push in with Baron on his own.
And, I mean, Dokla, I think that this split for him, I mean, it's someone that, we've seen in LCS 4 years ago now, but, like, I don't think a lot of people would expect us to talk about the growth that we've seen from Dokla. From last year, from last split, just given his play this year, he has been that good as a top laner. And we got to pause because FlyQuest Diamond
Can get him.
trying to fish around a little bit for Rosethorn, but not able to find anything. And FlyQuest still fishing for answers. And when they don't find a play mid, they're going to lose out on the sides.
A 1-3-1, even if it's a bit unorthodox in a 2-2-1 at the moment, it's still the same concept for CLG. They're pressuring every single lane at the same time and running FlyQuest who want to group up around the map.
And the Baron just makes this so much more difficult. Now, FlyQuest are going to be forced into an overload play. I just don't think you can pull off the play into the Fiora. And keep in mind, Triple has the port. So if you do go to attack the Fiora, there are going to be gold cards that we expect to be backing up Dokla over time. If you aren't able to take him down, this Fiora is way too slippery. Therefore, FlyQuest have no answers. More objectives keep falling as Triple knocks down that mid inner.
And it's crazy. The reason we keep talking about Dokla is because this game has been his completely. Everything that CLG have been able to gain an advantage around is off the back of Dokla's plays. You can even see right now, that's why they're no longer attacking Dokla. They're looking for the play on the top side. They've noticed 3 that were put here, but there's way too much damage at the moment coming in from the members of CLG. There's a Moonlight Vigil, and they've got the gobble. They've got the damage onto Yuji. He might be golden for now because he was revived by Zillion. Breeze is going to take a lot of that damage for the team, so he dies. But Derry's in there. They're going to be able to get a kill. Looking for Prismal. It is Tomo's double kill while the base is being taken by CLG.
And Dokla went down too. He was not able to help out. We got to see how that happened. Now CLG will still get the bot lane inhibitor, but FlyQuest, that's the first play that they've attempted on one of these sides that has worked out. At least gives them a bit of a reprieve. I know they dropped the inhibitor, but they have time to get money back in their pockets.
Worked in part, right? It worked in some parts, but the fact that they lost the inhibitor is a big loss.
I mean, they have to seed something. We talked about the overload plays, and we're going to take a second look at exactly how Dokla went down as they were looking to attack Philip. And it looks like Dokla just went a little bit too deep, tanked up both the turrets, wasn't quite able to escape from all that damage. So that is honestly a really lucky reprieve for FlyQuest. And as we get out of replay, you can see because all the members of CLG did fall, it does give FlyQuest a window to try and take this dragon. This would be huge if Yuji can get it, but it's going to be close.
Philip is not there. He's still pretty far away. Looking to see how they're going to be able to... Wait, what am I saying? He's right there. They got him in there. And they're looking at Dokla and Triple if they can join in the fight. They don't even bother. Why bother throwing away any of this lead you've grabbed for yourself over a second dragon that is now in the inventory of FlyQuest?
I think that was a smart seed from CLG, but I still want to credit FlyQuest for finding that play on the top side. Obviously, a little bit of luck taking down Dokla with him overextending, but that means a lot. They were at least able to get that dragon, prevent CLG from having that soul point where 5 minutes from now, you have to fight this team that's way ahead for a very powerful soul in Hextech. This will give FlyQuest a little bit more time, and also that super... That inhibitor being down, those supers, that is a little bit more gold going into FlyQuest pockets, and Dokla can't really attack past that mark. CLG don't have the pressure on the map elsewhere at the moment, so I think it's okay for FlyQuest, the map state they're in right now. It's only going to be a big problem once Baron spawns in a $120.
That's what I was about to say, is that Baron is up in just a short amount of time, so now FlyQuest are forcing Dokla out of this lane. He has Hullbreaker, making it a little bit more difficult for Philip, who is pretty far behind. About an item and a half down from Dokla, maybe even close to 2 items that he's behind this Fiora.
Now, CLG for this next Baron, I think they have to be really careful about whether or not they start it, because we are now at the point of the game. I know that it's a 5k gold lead for CLG. The vast majority of that is on Dokla. And if they slip up around the Baron, FlyQuest have the ability to pull the trigger and attack and win that 4v4.
You do the same play as before, rinse and repeat, get all the focus onto Dokla?
I mean, that would be the dream scenario for CLG, but I think that FlyQuest is wising up to it. I think that CLG is going to be all about preventing vision and just bluffing that you could be starting the Baron, but I think starting it is very dangerous for them. So I'm actually really curious to see how FlyQuest is able to play around this, because they are starting to scale. Zeri is now at that point where CLG is going to be really difficult for them to deal with Zeri in the team fight. And so I think they have to be really careful with how they execute at this point in the game, because if they slip up again, I think it's advantage back to FlyQuest. And you can see Dokla, he doesn't have anything else to take in this lane. So he can't really exert any more pressure. And FlyQuest, they're going to attack with a 4. They win as long as it is a 4v4.
They're focused on a Tom Kench so that Prismal doesn't have that safety. They've got the kill on a 1. They're looking for the flash. They got the flash out of Prismal, but that's the TP from Dokla. He can't join the fight. They've already lost Prismal. They're looking for Roselord, who will get a little bit of time, but it's going to be his death still down to Spyrex and looking for Triple. Taking out Triple takes out any fight that might happen around that Baron. FlyQuest winning big here, even flashing inside the base for a triple kill out of Spyrex.
And CLG, this is part of the issue. Dokla, he can't pressure the side anymore. There are super creeps, right? You already get Prio there. He can't go anywhere else. He could have even joined the team fight when he ported in because it was already lost. FlyQuest, they win the fights. They group in the 4v4. They pull Dokla around the map instead of CLG pulling FlyQuest around the map. And now it's only a 3k gold deficit. FlyQuest comp, they scaled like crazy. We have a close game on our hands.
And we talked about how difficult it is to lock down Zeri, but if you lock down Zeri, then you have Spyrex on Ahri who can run rampant.
And you can see in the replay, when Dokla gets in here, he can't move. Tomo, Diamond, Philip, that's enough to prevent him from wrapping around. And you can see the 4v4, it's just a wipe for FlyQuest at this point because Zeri has those items. Spyrex was also sitting at 3 items, and CLG just can't compete. They cannot win the 5v5s. They need to find these skirmishes. And as long as Philip doesn't overextend, FlyQuest can just rinse and repeat and keep on attacking this 4 as we see Tomo.
Tomo, he is aggressive here. He's got 2 levels over Prismal, jumping over the wall to look for these plays onto the bot lane of CLG, forcing him back into the base. The turret will fall.
And you can see Dokla in the bot lane. He is going to take this inhibitor again. So this will fall, but FlyQuest, they're okay seeding this. So we saw what happened last time. Dokla can't go anywhere else, and FlyQuest, they're going to trade up, I think. They take the mid inhibitor.
Wait a minute.
Dokla,
Wait a minute.
He's sticking it.
Yeah, they're looking for this play now onto Prismal and Breezy. Well, Dokla is inside the base, but Spyrex joining him made it difficult. Even though Triple was nearby, they couldn't actually port inside the base because of the turrets. Now they can port back here to look for the play onto Tomo. But it was a nice flag and drag, looking for a double bomb onto Triple, but he's running away. They've got a lot of damage on top of Diamond, but he used the ult on himself, so he'll be able to revive. That's a lot of damage on both sides. Spyrex joining in perfect time to take down Prismal.
Oh, and he lives. I think that's game for FlyQuest. Dokla, he's got a base now, and I don't think he can win in the group. Now, Spyrex, he did burn his TP. He is going to base to make sure that Dokla can't backdoor. Never mind, he stops it. He's sticking around. FlyQuest, they're looking to complete the comeback.
That's because Philip is chasing down Dokla, trying to deny the port back. This is a play underneath the Nexus turrets. With 1 going golden, they've got the turrets. They look for Triple, but he's still alive. He's got Breezy who can stand right in front of him, but they are doing damage to these these Nexus turrets right now. They will finally peel off since Dokla was able to complete that recall.
And you can see FlyQuest, their comp's online. They cannot deal with the Zeri. Empowered by the Zillion, Tomo has so much confidence. He knows that at this 3 items point, no one can take him down. As long as he has that cleanse, he can walk up with impunity. CLG cannot deal with it. FlyQuest hitting this spike really hard. Credit to them. But CLG, keep in mind, they almost ended this game. And all of a sudden, FlyQuest, all it took was 1 bite for this comp. They've turned it right on its head.
Bobby, what the hell happened in this game? It was a massive lead for CLG just a couple minutes ago.
This is part of the power of scaling for FlyQuest and part of the danger of the 1-3-1. Once you can't find pressure on the side, find pressure with your powerful solos, you buy time for FlyQuest. Their comp gets online, and all of a sudden, FlyQuest, they can fight in the 4v4s. They can force what is their win con, finding those grouped up team fights. And especially now with Tomo being
huge.
Level 17 on the Zeri at 3 items, now has a QSS plus a cleanse. He just gets to walk up for free, and FlyQuest, they're looking for the end.
Well, this is a Hail Mary play from Dokla. He's got a super minion behind him with that Hull Breaker, and he is looking for the fight. On a Philip underneath the turret, but Spyrex he is the savior of the top lane for FlyQuest. It's 1 to go golden, but the TP coming in from Triple. This could be an attempted backdoor from CLG.
I mean, this is it.
This is
how
Hail Mary.
CLG have to win the game.
They have no other choice.
There's no way they can win the 5v5.
They got one turret for themselves, but look at Philip and Spyrex. They have to clear out these minions, but Dokla and Triple are focused on the objectives. They've got the ports back, but that is a low turret. Here's Yuji to save the day as well, but they've got a lot of damage. No, Nexus are up now with the flash in, with the Cataclysm on one. They've got the kill on a Triple. He gets it. Dokla will survive once more.
No way! How did Dokla port out? CLG, they always get 2 Nexus turrets. Fiora's still on the run.
What's happening?
CLG, they started the Baron.
Exactly. They've started the Baron at the same moment. Diamond will check if they've got the blue
going
trinket onto this. This is the Hail Mary of all Hail Marys coming in from CLG. The smite should secure it for the side of CLG, but now it is the fight from Philip. He TP'd in, and he's got a lot of damage on a Rose Thorn. He's got the Darkened Blade. He's got the chains as well. He goes golden, but he will die upon a rival killing spree out of Tomo.
Okay, now it's all about FlyQuest. Can they end the game here? They have everyone up, 2 down for CLG, 20 seconds on Triple. They have 1 Nexus turret to get through. Baron empowered creeps will not help, but FlyQuest, they want to end.
Dokla has TP. The super minions are starting to crash back towards the base. This could be a huge backdoor potential for Big Dokes if he can end the game. This game has been about him this entire time, and it might be the end too.
And you can see it from Spyrax cutting that wave. Also, while all this was going on, Dragon was forgotten about Mad Magical. That would be picked up by FlyQuest, putting them on Soul Point. That 5-minute timer. If they get that Soul, I think that's too much. The slow on the Hextech Soul, that's going to be enough to catch up with CLG and route them in the 4v4s. It's about, I think CLG has 1 or 2 more Hail Marys to try and backdoor as, I mean, a ton of credit to CLG. They know that this game is in big trouble. They know how difficult it is to get back. I love it. Just go for the side lane. Try and pull off something crazy. And the fact that Triple gives his life for both Nexus turrets, that does open up the ability for Dokla to backdoor moving forward. So I think that as weird as it sounds, that Hail Mary, it really did give CLG a second life in this game. They got the Baron. They got the Nexus turrets down. And now, FlyQuest, you can see how safely they have to play on the map with this inhibitor down because they're so scared of the Dokla triple backdoor.
Even popping the gate for the side of CLG scares FlyQuest back into their base. They're worried of that backdoor potential, and I'm looking at the inventories of Dokla. He's completed that GA for even more potential to dive into the base and try to single-handedly end it.
And, I mean, this is the tough part for CLG, because when you are playing against FlyQuest in their base, you are forced to take a 5v5 at some point. There is no room on the map to spread out, overextend when you're fighting at the Nexus. So, FlyQuest, they are so powerful at this point of the game in the 5v5. It's almost like CLG needs to bait them out of their base again to even have a chance to backdoor this.
As we watch the CLG pushing pretty far into the territory of FlyQuest, not really relenting on that potential backdoor play that they have. That's why FlyQuest, they don't really necessarily care. They're okay with playing passively and finding catches onto CLG members, but it still is a worrying thing. With the inhibitors having a respawn on both sides, no longer can they rely on the super minions pouring into the enemy base.
And you gotta believe it's on Dokla again. I mean, we've been talking about him so much in this game, but he is the critical member because he is the only chance that CLG have to, you know, wipe or steal the rug outside of FlyQuest victory that they have surmounted, and honestly give it back to CLG, who once again did have a 6k gold lead at 23-minute mark, was sieging on those Nexus turrets, overextended a little bit. FlyQuest credit them, they turned it all the way around from there with the scaling composition, and now it's online, and CLG have to try and steal this game back. As I think Tomo, just seeing him step up on this Zeri, he is going to be impossible to deal with in these fights. We cannot emphasize that enough. But Dokla, is it going to be impossible to deal with in the side anymore? That's what we're going to have to find out for FlyQuest.
You talk about Tomo, but my eyes are drawn to Spyrex. This mid laner for FlyQuest has been playing so well as the season has progressed, coming up from the collegiate scene, joining into Academy. Rough start of the split, but he's been getting more consistent. He's become more of the carry for FlyQuest over and over again, and we see that in this game. 7-0-4, nearly full build on Ahri.
He's been huge in a lot of these fights and really helps FlyQuest, you know, speed up the pace, attack CLG when they are grouped up in the 4. But right now, I like the setup for CLG. You can see Dokla in the bot lane, and this time around, Triple is tailing. So he is hanging out in this brush, waiting to see if anyone from FlyQuest tries to attack Dokla. And that gold card could be all Dokla needs to try and turn things around on FlyQuest.
But I'm not expecting anything to happen for the moment. Still a minute and a
Really?
half until the dragon spawns.
We have Jarvan and Diamond coming.
They're
man.
here, but Dokla has
They're
been
looking
playing
for him.
safe, and he knows how
Yeah.
to get out of dodge. That's the big thing for him, is that he's gotten
And-
out of so many sticky situations.
And Triple was just spotted on the hover, so now CLG will have to back off this wave, reset. This is the last chance for both teams to reset as Mad Magical. Minute 10 away from Hextech Soul for FlyQuest being on the table, and a minute 20 away from Baron being on the table. It feels like FlyQuest have bought the time they need to get this composition online. I think the FlyQuest are heavily favored at this point. We'll have to see if CLG can come up with something crazy to get themselves this game.
Look at the wards. Look at where the wards are right now, how deep they are in the bot lane for the
That
side
is
of CLG. They can easily port to one of those and try to end the game with just 2 members.
And you can see CLG, they are starting to ping the base of FlyQuest. FlyQuest, at this point, they are out of their base. We did talk about how this is important for setting up this backdoor potential for Dokla and Triple. And you can see how careful Philip is at even just leaving his own base on the map in the bot side is. He's barely sneaking out. He knows how careful that he has to be because if all 5 members of FlyQuest show, that is all CLG needs to pull off this one teleport. Now, Triple doesn't have access to his yet. Of course, he does have the port, but he is currently sitting on exhaust, so cannot get there fast enough as Rosethorn.
Thing is, do they even need Triple for this backdoor? We've already seen the power Dokla has, and he's full tilt at this point as Fiora. He's got a lot of pressure, and Triple is hanging around. He's got that Destiny Gate that he can open up if he wants to join Dokla.
Yeah, Hextech is on the map. Dokla is shoving out the side now. FlyQuest, they have retreated to get it, and I think this is the moment that CLG, they got to think about fully sending it.
And they are. Look at Dokla.
Yeah.
He is running for the base. That Destiny Gate has been opened. They can easily get into the base, but they
Here we
notice the
go.
diamonds right behind them. The ports are attempted from the side of FlyQuest.
That's
They
one.
got the kill onto Philip, but then they got the damage onto the inhibitor this entire
Oh,
time. They
no.
cancel it. Ooh,
Oh, no.
Triple's still alive, but he will die upon arrival. Couldn't get the inhibitor, so they focus
Wait.
their attention instead onto Tomo. Taking him out is a huge shutdown for Dokla.
In FlyQuest, they got split. CLG, Triple Dokla attacking. Philip goes down. Tomo goes down. It's now numbers for CLG. Now, FlyQuest, they did pick up the soul, but there are no Nexus turrets available. I think that CLG has broken FlyQuest.
This is just the full send. They are now all here grouped up to end this game. Inhibitor is gone. They've got a bit of damage coming in onto CLG members, but Dokla dives into the back line. He is so huge. He is the member. He has been carrying this game all the way to the bitter end. And Big Doke shows up once more while Prismal wails away on the Nexus turret to clinch the game.
And what a game, what a setup from both of these teams as Mad Magical. I love when different styles clash. FlyQuest with this Zillion, it's all about those team fights. When you take Fiora TF, it's about how far ahead can you get that Fiora and how well can you play around it. And in the end, it was CLG who were able to come up with the solution in the late game. That was not an easy game for them to win. They made mistakes trying to end it early. But this time, CLG bounced back, and it was all from that Fiora from Dokla. What a game from him.
That game was purely Dokla against the world. He was so massive in that. Winning out the lane like he did, finding those plays, the split push that he then accomplished in the bot lane that allowed them to set up for that eventual play. Dokla, props to you, man.
I mean, like, props to CLG, because yes, Dokla was the one making the flashy plays. You know, he's the one pushing up in the side lane, but that is a team effort. You have to be really careful about when you show on the map, how you are, calming when FlyQuest shows on the map as well, because you need to see members in order to have the confidence to push up and even try and execute those mechanical plays. But it felt like Dokla, every single time FlyQuest was sending 2, 3, even 4 members at him, he only went down, I think, 3 times in that game. And considering his forward, like how far he was up on the map for the entirety of it, that is good use of a counter pick top right there, man. Dokla used that to the full effect, totally changed how CLG wanted to play the game with that comp, and ended up cashing in that 40-minute, I mean, honestly, a really back-and-forth game.
That was a fun game to watch, but we got more League of Legends action. We got a short break, and then our halftime show. Make sure you stay tuned.